Alright, so in this project we're going to be building a simple website for a digital agency, obviously a fictional digital agency. Basically, we're going to have this big landing page with this large image and I guess a heading with some slogan text. But what's really cool about this template is that when we click on a link, it'll slide down to the correct area or slide up. So basically this is done using jQuery. It's really simple. Even if you don't know jQuery, don't worry about it. It's basically maybe 15 lines of code, if that. So basically we have a YS page, which is going to be, a bunch of icons. We're going to use font awesome and some text, and who are we, which is just basically text with a link to the contact page, and it has this background image. Clients is just a list of stock logos that I found, and then contact is going to be links to the email and the social media sites or profiles. Alright, so that's what we're going to be building. One thing that I want to mention is we're going to be using less. Alright, so less is very similar to Sass, which we used a couple chapters back. It's a CSS preprocessor, and it lets us use things like variables and nested styles, things like that. Alright, so to do that we need a less compiler. Now back in the Sass chapter we used a program called Scout. That was for Sass. We need one for less now, and I'm using Windows, and there's a really easy to use compiler called WinLess. And if you're using a Mac, I don't believe you can use this, but just do a search on less compilers. Something will come up that's very similar. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and install this. Okay, we're going to download it first, obviously. And it's very similar to Scout. It's actually a little easier. So we're going to go ahead and run that, and that's just a basic Windows installer. Alright, so I'm going to finish, and I'm not going to start it yet because we need to create our project folder. Okay, so I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it Digital Agency. Now since we're using less, the file structure is going to be a little different, but I'm still going to grab everything from the Bootstrap starter theme that we created, or I shouldn't even say theme, it's a template, boilerplate. Oops, I want to copy. Alright, now a few things. In the CSS folder, I'm going to go ahead and delete both CSS files because they're going to get generated using less. Alright, and let's see. Yeah, so we'll create a folder called less. Alright, and then if we go to getbootstrap.com, there's actually, if we click on getting started, this option right here, you can actually get the source less files. Alright, so I'm going to click on that and open that up. And you should have a folder called less. If you open that up, you have all these less files, and they're categorized into different aspects of the template. Grids, buttons, button groups, inputs, labels, everything has its own less file, and then what it's doing, it's going to import it into this file right here, bootstrap.less. Alright, so what we want to do is when we create our custom less file, we want to import this into that. Alright, so what we want to do is inside of our less folder, we want to create a new folder called vendors. Alright, and then in that vendors folder, I'm going to create another folder called Bootstrap. Alright, and then I'm going to take everything that's in this less folder and copy it into this Bootstrap folder. Alright, now also in vendors I'm going to create another folder and I'm going to call it Font Awesome. And we're going to go to the Font Awesome site and download it. Okay, and if we open that up, you should see a less folder there as well. So we're going to bring everything over from here into our Font Awesome less folder. Alright, now in the root of the our less folder, we're going to create a file called main. You can call it anything you want, but I'm just going to call it main.less. Now what I want to do is open up main.less, and we want to import the Bootstrap and Font Awesome less files. So we're going to say import. We want to go in vendors / bootstrap / bootstrap.less. Alright, and we also want to import vendors Font Awesome / and then let me just check the Font Awesome less. Okay, so we'll save that. And now what we're going to do is go to our index, open up our index, and we're going to remove the bootstrap.css reference, and we're just going to change this to main.css. Okay, we'll save that. And now we want to open up winless. And let me just remove that. So you should see this. You shouldn't have anything here. And then what we're going to do is click Add Folder, and you want to open up your digital agency less folder. Okay, so it should show us the main file. Okay, so what we want to do here is we only want to check main.less. We don't want to generate all these files. Alright, so just make sure that only that's checked. Click Compile, and then inside, whoop, looks like we have some kind of error. Missing semicolon, column 1. Oh. Oh, I forgot the semicolon. Alright, so let's try that again. Alright, so that's successful, so let's go ahead and check the CSS folder. Alright, so we now have our main.css, and if we open that up, you can see that it has all of the Bootstrap and Font Awesome styles. Alright, so if we open up our index, we get our starter template. Alright, so everything's coming through less, which is what we want. That way we can use variables, we can use nested styles, things like that. Okay, so now that that's set up, we can start to develop our template, which we'll do in the next video.